Meeting. This is the public session, and this is a continuation of a meeting that was started, and unfortunately there was technical issues and we ran out of time. So we're merely using the same agenda. This agenda will have two amendments, and we will amend item 15.2, which we'll talk about when we get there. There's some special claims. And then also item 35 under new business. I'd like to add the approval of the OAPSB membership, and there'll be an approval for our Zone 5 membership for the Police Services Board, and we'll talk about those items when we get there. So for now, we've called to order disclosures of direct or indirect pecuniary interest. Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the amended agenda? Mayor Post, Ian McSweeney, all in favor? Yes. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We did meet in camera earlier. There was nothing to share at this time, so we won't be reporting on those items. So, board members, we are on item 10 of our open agenda, and that is ride grants. And basically what's happened here is we have been given a ride grant approval for 12-9 and 12-8 for 2024. And what we need to do as a board is approve this and sign the documentation. So I'm looking for instructions for the chair to be able to sign that grant and ensure the town of Orangeville gets this money on 10-1. Would there be any discussion on this or commentary? No. Lisa wants to move the motion as seconder. Ken, thank you. All in favor of that happening? Very good. And then 10.2 is the same situation. This report again is on page 54 and just looking to approve this as well. And it's the ride grant approval follow-up. So could I have a motion to approve 10.2? Ian, thank you. Seconder Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Okay, very good. So item 11, this was the Operation Lifesaver program. We have covered this item off in our closed meeting minutes, and basically the brief summary of it would be is at this time we would have to determine next steps in terms of raising money to be able to participate in Operation Lifesaver. And I don't think we're at that point just yet. We didn't arrive on what we would do in terms of next steps now that we know that we would need to raise approximately $10,000-ish to be able to participate. So in my view as the chair, I'm not sure that there's anything further to discuss on this item. And I guess I would be asking for a motion to accept this for now, and we'll have to address it at a later date. Board members, does everyone agree with that, or do you see it differently? Ian, you'd like to move that? Okay, and I have a seconder. Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Okay, thank you, board members. Item 12, I was going to skip and should be introducing. We have Inspector Ward is not here, but we have Sergeant Jay Moore who's here in his place today. And Sergeant Moore, if you'd like, you could speak to Maverick, or if you'd prefer, we could defer.
No, certainly. I can give a brief overview of the actual project. It's a provincial project that's existed, I believe, since 2006. And it looks into child exploitation within the province and how it interacts with human trafficking within the province. So it is not specific to one municipality or one area of the province. It's province-wide and, to be honest, Canada-wide. So we do, as a provincial agency, liaise with the federal government, RCMP, and all other municipal agencies in regards to this.
Okay. Board members, is there any questions for Sergeant Moore on Project Maverick?
No questions really, but there was a chart that I had sent along to Inspector Ward that I just found shocking. Like summarizing the description is adult male or whatever, young person, their age, their location, and then the crime with which they're charged, and it goes on and on. It's kind of frightening how pervasive this is within, very close to home within the GTA. So kudos to the police for getting their arms around it, but it is unbelievably concerning.
Okay, thank you, Member McSweeney. Sergeant Moore, did you want to speak to that at all any further, or do you think we've addressed it?
I think we've addressed it. Yeah, I don't have
Very
access to the charts.
I just got one question, Mr. Chair. Jay, sorry. Is there any information being brought out to the community about this project, or anything to communicate to the community?
Again, I don't think it would be specific to this community. It would be a provincial strategy that would be released. If you went to the OPP website or the provincial government websites, you could definitely find what information is available. I mean, a lot of the investigation that goes into these, they're obviously sensitive investigations, and a lot of it is not for public consumption.
Okay.
I would say that's probably an area where any public member could find information about it.
On the website. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Ken, for that. Okay, so I think unless there's any further commentary from board members, we'll receive this item. I have a motion to receive. Member Post, Member McSweeney, all in favor? Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. Item 13 was an update on graffiti. There was a report that was given by the town clerk on this item. There was some discussion overall on what should be done, but the recommendation is that the town bylaws cover this off at this time. And I think, I don't want to put words into Inspector Ward's mouth, but he was in alignment with that we didn't need to do anything further on this item. So given that we've covered it in item 7, I would suggest we simply skip this item, board members. I don't know if we need a motion to receive that, but I think we've covered this.
Yep. And it will be when the minutes are put out on the public website after next time we meet and approve them. Item 7 will reflect that discussion.
Very good. So could I have a motion to receive that as is? Member Post, Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Okay. So this next piece is item 14, and it speaks to our service meeting standards. And essentially what that is did we meet the dates and the commitments that we made to each other as we rode up to these meetings, and did we do the same thing post those meetings? There is a report in there with the dates. In my view, we did. I don't know, Madam Secretary or other board members, is there a disagreement to that, or is there commentary on this?
Mr. Chair, no disagreement at all. So just to remind everybody, our service standards are set up that there are certain tasks and timelines with respect to the preparation for a meeting. And then there are also certain tasks and deadlines associated with what has to happen after a meeting prior to the next meeting. So that's why the agenda reflects it, and we test how we do on both sides of the meeting horizon. And we are, batting 1,000. I mean, much to the credit of Mary Lou, she's keeping us on track.
Thank you, Member McSweeney. Madam Secretary, thinking about it, I know we're not here on the agenda yet, but we've agreed we're going to go through our meeting schedule and firm that up. Will you put something out similar fairly quick after this meeting for the next meeting, which is going to be March, so that we're got those dates as well? Is that something you can do? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, could I have a motion to receive item 14? Member McSweeney, Member Post, all in favor? Yes, thank you, everyone. Okay, so this next one is item 15, and this was mentioned on the agenda. We were going to make some slight changes. So at the time, we didn't have anything to share with the public regarding item 15. Since then, we would like to add 2 things, and that is there was a special meeting that happened with the board, plus there was a county meeting that occurred. So we would want to add those 2 items to the remuneration report. And my understanding is, Member McSweeney, you'd like to speak to this item?
There are 3 parts to this. On the claims side, the claims that are being submitted for approval total $1,200, as Mr. Chair indicated. 2 claims relative to the November 30th special meeting, 5 claims relative to the joint meeting, and 5 claims relative to the special in-camera meeting that we held on January the 20th. So the total of that is 1,200. So I think that I have previously circulated, and Mary Lou, that all those 12 claims are in front of the board. So one thing I would ask is for some of these that I prepared, Mary Lou was absent for some of this. I prepared and signed the claims on behalf of the members. So in conjunction with this motion, I would just ask members to, in addition to approving the claims, also to ratify their authority for me to sign on their behalf in submitting the claims, just for these 12.
I can't hear you, Todd.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, there's
Excuse
one
me.
more addendum to that.
Okay,
Before
well,
we-
we'll turn
before
it
we
back
do the
over to you
motion.
for one more minute.
In looking at the remuneration policy, and Mary Lou actually twigged me to this. Sometimes when, using Mary Lou as an example, sometimes she will have attended a special meeting, and back when she was an employee of the town, and it's not appropriate to claim twice. So Mary Lou quite rightly pointed that out to me. And so the reason that the November 30th meeting was for 2 claims and not for 3 was that she pointed that out to me, and we didn't submit a claim for her. But it reminded me that our remuneration policy really should be revised to make that very clear, that where you're on the clock in some other capacity for the town and a special meeting happens, then you don't get paid twice. So, and I'm happy to bring this forward at the next meeting, but I'll announce it now. I have prepared an amendment to our remuneration policy, new section 6.9, and maybe at the next meeting, I'll table that. Members will have an opportunity to look at it, and we'll approve that amendment to the remuneration policy.
That would be great. I think moving forward, I don't know that will come into play in the short term, but it could in the medium term when changes are made to the board or what have you. So I think that's very appropriate.
And I think it's sort of a no-brainer as well.
Yeah.
It's something that should be, for greater certainty, expressly stated in the policy.
That's great. Member McSweeney, I think you need to close your mic. I'm not certain, but we'll just make sure we do here. Yeah, thank you, sir. Okay, so that is the remuneration report. And so, my apologies. So I think we need to, that's item 16, right? Item 15, and then the 16 is report. So item 15, did we get our motion? No, thank you. Can I have a motion to receive 15? Member Post? Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Okay. So item 16 is the remuneration report approval. Member McSweeney, did you want to speak to that as well? Or is it simply a receive? This is 16, the final remuneration report approval.
This is the, it goes by a number of different names. This is what we sometimes call our semi-annual report, which is the aggregate of our remuneration claims for the year. So I think we started the clock again in 2023. So Mary Lou, I don't know if you have a final report for 2022.
Yes, that was the one I submitted. Claims that are being. I believe.
I agree with that. So and
Okay,
the
so
minutes
very good.
should
So-
reflect that.
Yeah, so the motion should be is that we receive and approve 2022's report. And again, this is a report of all the special claims for public consumption and transparency. So can I have a motion to do that? Member McSweeney, Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so that is item 16. So we move to item 17, and item 17 is a Zone 5 update from December. And Member McSweeney, you are our person on that board. Were you going to speak to this? Because this item, and that's on page 60 of our presentations overall.
Yes, so I think the agenda is there for that meeting. It was December 13th. So in addition to the financials, there's a usual package that goes out. There's the financials, a directory, and the minutes from the previous meeting. So I think all of those are in our package. So, you know, there wasn't a lot discussed at the Zone 5 meeting. There was a great report from Waterloo on their mobile crisis unit program. And as an aside, I know that ours is running out of grant money at the end of March. So maybe we need to talk about that at some point too, because it would be a shame to lose it. But anyway, Waterloo, I think they're up and running with a multiple year grant as far as I could tell, but they would be a real ally for us if we wanted to look at what they're doing and try to enlist maybe some of their support in terms of renewing our grant. There was a presentation by Inspector Beth Houston. Jay, I don't know if you know. Okay. And she was heading up a committee that was looking into best practices. I think those are probably best practices on the operational side. And so all of this will be reflected in the minutes for the next meeting when they come out. So we'll eventually see some of this stuff in more detail. Dwayne Sprague, the ministry representative, gave an update, which, you know, we've heard a number of times, indicating that the new legislation is some months, if not years off, sometime in 2024, that the regulations are being worked on and being rolled out on a consultation basis, which we are looking at and making our own submissions on through the OAPSB. And so that's about it. I can speak to more details about that, about the minutes and the meeting when the minutes come out next time. Yes.
Sure. You said there. I think you made a comment about our grant money expiring at the end of March. I believe it's March of next year. Me and Mary Lou actually wrote that grant. So
Oh,
I believe is it 3? Okay. Yeah.
well,
so
that's
yeah,
good
it's
news.
not this year. I know it's not this year. So
Well, that I'm happy about that, and because we had a meeting at another organization and it was described as 2023. So I will go back and they'll be relieved about that.
It's a 3-year grant. Which on the hospital side, the OP crisis nurse.
shortly, I believe. I don't know.
Well, maybe I conflated those two. So, okay. Okay. And Mr. Chair, the next Zone 5 meeting is March 14th. And I'll maybe speak to that again under item 18.
So we'll have our board meeting after that. Yeah, so we'll have that on the agenda then.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for that update. Curious, Member McSweeney, are you still okay moving forward in this term to continue on Zone 5?
Yes, and that reminds me. So my part B of item 17 is that there was a call for an election to the OAPSB of the Zone 5 director. There were 3 candidates. I was one, but I didn't win. John Thompson, who I think is he on council up in Owen Sound? Anyway, he's on the police services board in Owen Sound, a very competent fellow. He was elected. So he is the new OAPSB director, sort of the new Lisa McDonald. Lisa McDonald left because she was elected to council. And so that's the reason they had the directorship. So I just wanted to report on that.
If I may, another question. Would we ever have him come to a board meeting too and then share his vision for what is he going to be doing? What is his initiatives?
Did we ever have Lisa? We certainly, the answer is we certainly could invite the OAPSB.
I think we should, right? We just had Lisa Darling.
We just had Lisa there.
Yeah. Is that something that you could pursue and come back for a future meeting on one of your?
My take, so he's early on the job, and let me just, I think the answer is yes, but for some reason, at this March, and maybe because there's an annual renewal of this process, there was a notice that went out with respect to the March 14th Zone 5 meeting, once again calling for nominations for the OAPSB director position. So I think he was elected for the stub period. So that process, I'm sure he'll be re-elected, and also calling for OAP, for Zone 5 executive election. So all of that is going to be happening on March 14th. With respect to, so I think it's premature. I think he's new on the job. I think we maybe give him 6 months and then think about having him in.
Very good. So thank you for that update. So item 17, could we have a motion to receive that report? Member Post, thank you. Ken, if you could do, yeah, thank you very much, Ken. All in favor? Yes. Okay. And item 18, I think, is probably fairly quick, right? So there was a call out for Zone 5 directors. You know, the bylaws and the policy manual, I think all of that stuff's on page 72 of our document. Would anyone like to speak to this item? It's just simply, it's got the policy manual and the 2023 calendar.
Yeah, and I kind of covered that,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, in item 17. But
Perfect.
we heard from Lisa, they're going to be working on their OAPSB policy manual. There are a number of initiatives that we will track, and I'll make sure that there's a report back to the board on progress.
Very good. Okay, so a motion to receive 18 as is. Member Post, Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Very good. So item 19, and this is probably a quick one too. So call for nominations for the OMERS Administration Corporation for the board. We have talked about this item in closed, and we're fortunate enough that our member Ian McSweeney has decided to put his name forward. So I don't think the board needs to do anything. Ian, did you want to speak to this item at all? I'm not sure you need to, but you got to turn your microphone. Yeah.
Lots of people, myself included, wondered about the issue of conflicts. And I mean, I hold a number of positions in addition to vice chair of the Orangeville Police Services Board. So my ethics commissioner is David Wake, the integrity commissioner of Ontario. And so in applying, just to assure everybody, in applying for that OMERS position through the OAC, I did vet it through David Wake and received approval subject to the usual conditions of disclosure and recusal and whatever, because OMERS appears before me all the time as chair of the Financial Services Tribunal. So just in case anyone's wondering about conflicts, they have been at least cleared to that extent.
Very good. So we'll motion to receive item 19 then. Member Post, Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Very good. So item 20, this is the action register update. It's on page 120 in your book, and it's just basically reviewing all the initiatives that we have ongoing, who's in charge, what's the progress. I think it's a great document. It just keeps us in tune with everything that we have ongoing. We have a similar one for council actually. So I think it works out well. I don't know that there's anything to talk to on the item other than to receive it, and there's all of the initiatives that we're pursuing. Any comments or questions, board members? No? Okay, so a motion to receive item 20, which is the action register update. Member Post, Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Okay, so this is item 21, and so again, we've moved to a section 10 board. We are now under the new system as we work with our OPP friends, and the commentary is should we be looking at what the objectives, priorities, etc. are pertaining to this inclusion in the section 10 board, and should we be updating the document? And so we have deputized Mary, who unfortunately is not able to be here tonight, and Ian to run this project, evaluate, and speak to. And I don't know what item we're at now, 22 in terms of changes, but Member McSweeney, if you wanted to speak to the draft you're on and an update, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I did speak to this last time in camera, but we've arrived at the item in public. So I'll report again and update. So yeah, I think that we are pretty close to completing this project. It's a governance related project with a cover governance document and to which is attached all of our bylaws and policies and resource materials so that we can locate in one spot for our use and for the use of future boards all of the pieces that come together in connection with the discharge of our obligations under the police service legislation. So a bit of a daunting project, but we are making great progress. The timing going forward is that we're pretty close to completing the cover document. We have 19 policies that the board secretary and I and Mary have passed back and forth a couple of times and are now in the process of finalizing. We've completed the first batch of five. Just this morning, the board secretary sent me the second batch of 5. And I'm very confident that by the time of our next meeting, we will have all 19 done, and that we'll be in a position to provide the board with an update on next steps. And just to remind everybody, next steps will include, but won't be limited to, further consultation with Terry Ward and an initial consultation with town council.
Very good. Thank you, Member McSweeney. Any other commentary from board members on this project? No? If Mary was here, I'm sure she'd want to offer some thoughts on this. So a motion to receive where we are currently on this project and more updates to come. Member Post, and you want to do that? Thank you, sir. All in favor? Yes. Okay, and so the PSB website review, again, it's running together because we had a truncated meeting because of technology, but in my view, we've covered this off as well. I think basically the general gist of it is we're going to make some improvements to the overall website and ensure that our meeting minutes are on there and there's some relevant information. And outside of that, I don't know, Mary Lou, did you want to say anything else over and above that, or do you think that kind of captures it for now?
Just for public consumption, one of the inconsistencies among police services boards in the province is an inconsistency in the way in which they report public information on their website. They all do it differently. And so one of the little projects that we're looking at is trying to reach out, seeing what other boards are doing, but then make our own decision on what additional information we post on our website for public consumption. And as you know, we now publish the schedule, the meeting schedule, and the public meeting minutes once they're approved. But there's a lot of other boards publish a lot more. Their policies, their bylaws, things that aren't necessarily confidential and that should be out there in the public domain. So at some point in 2023, look for a revised website, including, I would suspect, additional information for public eyes.
Very good. Okay. Members, any other comments on that at this point? No. Do you, Mary Lou and Member McSweeney, do you need any further help from the board on this, or do you think it's just? Is there?
I think we're in good shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So then, board members, if we can have a motion to receive this item as well. Member Post, Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Okay. So that's the website review. We're now on to item 23, and item 23 is the East Ferris Police Services Board. And basically what's happening here, everyone, is there's some concern about school bus safety, not enough being done to protect children as they get on and off the bus. And we have talked about this in closed, and at this point in time, we've assigned a leader to this item to follow up. And Ken is going to be the person on our board that is leading this. And I think at a future meeting in open, we'll discuss this further and have a better understanding with your leadership, Ken, of what this issue is all about and how we can help ensure that our children are more protected in our area with school buses. Would anybody like to add anything to that, or do you think that's a good succinct summary? Okay, very good. Can I have a motion to receive this item as noted? Member McSweeney, Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Okay, so that's item 23. Item 24, this is a review of the draft CSPA regulations, OPP Detachment Board. It's the member code of conduct and conflict of interest. Basically, we are talking about our member code of conduct and how we'll conduct ourselves. And I don't know, Vice Chair McSweeney, did you want to offer anything to item 24, or do you think the report as written is enough?
Yeah, so we reported on this in camera. So as the government prepares regulations that go along with the new police service legislation, they are rolling out draft regulations for public comment. And so we are to continue to look at those, and we'll make our submissions probably through the OAPSB on and focusing on the regulations that affect Section 10 boards, and in particular, the regulations that impact what the board does itself as opposed to the operational side of things.
Members, any comments on this item? No? Okay, motion to receive. Mayor Post, Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Okay, so this next one is item 25. It's false alarm reporting. And Member Post, as in your role as mayor, you'll be very interested to see this. The board has uncovered that one of the lines in the OPP budget was very high false alarm reporting, and our concern is that goes to calls for service, and some of these calls for service, in our view, were unnecessary. So we're reporting these items. I've been linking in with town staff to make sure that we're following up with those offending. If you read the reports, the number one false alarm location at this point in time is Walmart. And it's certainly something that's been noted, in the police, the council, and the police services board all working together to keep this under sort of a diminished pull. We don't want our police going to look at false alarms, and we don't want our taxpayers paying more money than they need to for a service. So that's the general gist of this, and this is just a list of all the false reporting items on there. And my suggestion would be is we simply receive the item and take that report that I just gave as justification for the item. So could I have well, I'll ask, does anybody else want to speak to this? Being none, could I have a motion to receive this report? Thank you, Member McSweeney, Member Post. All in favor? Yes, thank you, everyone. So item 26 is the next joint meeting of the Dufferin County Section 10 Services Boards. And this is basically all of the different municipalities within Dufferin County got together. We compare notes, see what the big issues are at the time. What was discussed at this meeting was we had speed enforcement cameras were discussed, the towing bylaw, the POA, which is the courts essentially, how that's going, and then the future PSB, so Police Service Board composition of boards. Those items were all discussed at that meeting. I don't think there's anything else to share other than those items, but if a member would like to comment on that, please feel free to do so.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. So just looking at my notes as well. So there was an Al Blundell from Melanchthon that agreed to participate with us on our website public information disclosure little project. So I'd forgotten about that, but I will reach out to him and see if we can work together on that project.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Member McSweeney. Can I have a motion to receive this report? Member Post, and thank you. All in favor? Yes, very good. So item 27, this is kind of exciting. So Ken and our friend Mary Rose, who is not here tonight, have both been approved for, it says on board. That's what this is, right? Am I confused? Yeah, thank you. Have both been approved by the province for another 2 years to sit on the Police Services Board, and simply want to congratulate both of them and I guess receive the item. Ken, did you want to speak to this item in public at all, or no?
I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Nothing exciting to say? Okay, very good. Well, congratulations to you and congratulations to Mary. And I guess we'll ask the other board members, Member Post, Member McSweeney, if you could make a motion. Very good. Member Post, Member McSweeney, all in favor of receiving? Thank you. Okay, so that was item 27. Item 28 is approval of the public session meeting minutes from November 15th. Madam Secretary, do we need to, is the other ones in here as well, or is it just literally November 15th at this time? Just November 15th, thank you. Okay. So board members, can I have a motion to approve the public session minutes from November 15th? Member McSweeney? Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. And just for the record, Member Post wasn't on the board at the time and wouldn't have been at the meeting to be able to participate in that. So, okay, so that is item 28. Item 29 is the meeting location and format of future board meetings. And I think what we did discuss this item in closed, and what we've agreed is we will meet in the following months, and it's March, May, June, September, November. In between those dates, there may be special meetings called by the chair, depending upon the need or whatnot of this board based on subject matter at the time. So those will be the meeting dates. It will be, and again, board members help me, it's the third Tuesday. Closed session will be at 4, open session will be at 5, and we will meet in this room, which is Town Hall Council Chambers. So all of that is done. Board members, any comments on that? Member McSweeney.
Just that the board secretary will be posting in due course, posting that schedule on our website.
Okay.
And there'll also be a virtual link too, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, this is a hybrid meeting, and board members are able to either be in person or be online. Okay. Okay, very good. So that is item 29. So item 30 be question period. Mona, do we have anyone? Motion to receive. I'm sorry. We have a motion to accept that. We need mover. Yeah, Member McSweeney. Okay, and a seconder. Ken, thank you. All in favor? Yes. That's why we have the Lux secretary keeping us on track of things here. So Mona, is there anybody on the line for question period? No. Okay, and there's no presentation delegation.
Mr. Chair, if I might, just to remind the board that at our public session on January the 17th, there was a member of the public who was present and I think submitted a list of written questions to the board secretary after the fact. I don't think that member is within in the public gallery now, but the nature, I mean, we might talk about the nature of the questions. My assessment is that those questions are not questions to the board. They are questions, they're operational questions that we should submit through to the inspector and then maybe deal with when we reconvene in public session in March.
And simply have Inspector Ward speak to them at that time?
I think so.
Okay.
And so if we can instruct the board secretary, it's really, you know, the one I'm talking about, it's the January 19th, you'd circulated them to the, yes. I think so. I think so. In public session, I think so.
That'd be great. Okay, so we need a motion for that. That's under, is that your first item under new business? Is that where we would put that?
I had it under question period as a comment.
Okay.
But
okay. Right. So that is question period. Do we need to? I think we do. We have to receive that comment from you, wouldn't we?
I think so. So
okay,
the motion is that the questions submitted at the public session on January 17th be forwarded to Terry, to Inspector Ward, to be
by Citizen Noel Ramsey.
Yes.
Yes.
To be discussed. Yeah, and then that's public information. So yeah.
Very good. Yeah, would you do, or actually, you know what, that's fine. I'll reach out to Mr. Ramsey personally and let him know. Okay.
Great.
Okay, very good. So we still didn't do that. We need a motion to receive that. Yeah. So Member McSweeney, you're going to move it.
I made the motion.
You move it. Ken, you're gonna second that? And all in favor of doing so? Yes, that's great. So there's no presentations, delegations, correspondence, no new reports, but there is new business, right? And under new business, item 35, I would like to add that we will approve the OAPSB membership, and that is for $1,700. I did sign the documentation. It's ready to go upon approval of this board. And the second one is we need to update our Zone 5 membership, and that is for $250. And I'm looking for board members' approval to do both. Okay, the motion, Member Post is going to make the motion. Member McSweeney is going to second it. All in favor? Yes. Okay, so that's unanimous. Thank you very much, board members.
So, Mr. Chair, just on the OAPSB, there's a spring conference coming up. I saw it somewhere. It was in one of those emails from Holly that included the regulations and a bunch of other stuff. So maybe if we could ask the board secretary to recirculate the spring conference information. I don't know. Traditionally, sometimes we've gone. Ken, I don't know when. I think you've attended it sometimes. I think it's an in-person meeting. I don't know if it's a hybrid meeting, but I think it's in May. Anyway, we should just circulate. And if we need to talk about it in March, we can, but it does have a cost associated with it.
So that's what you're saying is we'd simply review it in March? Is that?
I think so.
We'll hold off till then?
I think so. We can talk about who goes. We can talk about, sponsorships, what the usual stuff around a conference.
Okay. So that's not, you're not making a motion. You're just informing us.
I think
we don't
so.
need to receive it in a sort of way. Okay.
And
very
asking
good.
the board secretary to make sure it's on our March agenda.
Okay. Any other motions under new business? No? We need to cover off. Jay, thank you so much for coming, and we appreciate you being here. Yeah, you're a lot nicer than Inspector Ward. I want him to hear that. It's just a little joke to the public. We all think very highly of Inspector Ward. Okay, very good. Could I have a motion to adjourn this meeting, board members? Dean McSweeney, thank you. Member Post, yes. All in favor? Yes. And last thing is we all wish our member Mary Rose well. I know she's recovering right now from an illness, and we all wish her the very best. And you were missed here today, Mary, so you're thought of. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.